I'm Joan Jones, and it seems like home, and today we're going to talk about doing fusible applique. This is the first in a series to teach you this technique, and we're going to go today from the tracing technique all the way to applying it to the fabric. There are two fusibles that I use. Both of them are steam-a-seam. One is steam-a-seam 2, and it is the light version. And this is good for projects that have a lot of machine quilting, and it's fairly light, but yet it's still a firm application. And it is fusible between 2 layers of paper. It has a tendency to stick to one layer. So if you're going to trace, you need to use that one layer that has a fusible stuck to it for your drawing. The other, and that's the light. The other is steam-a-seam 2, and it's a heavier version. This is the one that I like a lot, and it is because there's 2 layers of paper and a nice thick fusible in between, but you need to test that your machine will quilt through this thicker layer, especially if there are several layers of applique, one on top of each other. Okay, I have a little storyboard here, and it shows both of those fusibles. And with either of them, what you're going to do is take your pattern pieces. Now, our pattern, and the sample that we're going to do today, is this little bird that comes from our snowman pattern, which is right here. And in this pattern, there are 2 sections. One is your pattern pieces, which are all traced and are identified with the number and the color that you're going to use. And the other is a drawing of the design itself, which is the paper form of the way that the quilt will be laid out. So we're going to start with the pattern pieces. They're already traced in reverse, which is what you need. And you're going to put your fusible over the top. You can leave all 3 layers together, paper, fusible, paper, and trace them. And I recommend that you use a mechanical pencil. That way the thickness of your drawing is consistent throughout. So you would put that over the top, you can see through it, trace it, and identify your pieces for color and the number. So that's the first step. The next step is to rough cut these out. And what I mean by rough cutting is you don't have to cut right on the pencil line. You just need to cut around the shape, the basic shape. And then you're going to separate these into the colors that they'll be used. For instance, you can see these 3 shapes have been rough cut, and they're on a lighter, medium red. I only have one that's like a tan, 1 black, and 3. So these were separated, and then what you're going to do is take 1 piece of paper off the fusible, and you're going to press it to the wrong side of your fabric, just in the same shape that it's in. Now what we've done here is press them onto a hand-dyed batik. And hand-dyed batiks don't really have a right or a wrong side, so they're great to work with. They also have very tight woven fabric, so they don't fray back. They do a wonderful job when you're doing fusible applique. So after we have these all applied, and we're just using an iron-on cotton setting, and I don't put steam in it. Even though it's called steam-a-seam, I don't put steam in it. And you don't have to press too long. If it's applied and it's tight on the fabric, then don't overpress it. It's not necessary, because it'll only make it more difficult later on to peel off the paper. So after you've got these all applied, you're going to fussy cut right on the line. I like to be consistent. If you're going to let the line show in one, let the line show in all of them and just cut around. And if you look at the back of this, and I have this laminated just for the storyboard, you can see the pieces are all finished. And that is the first video, and be sure you come back and look at the second video for fusible applique.